I'm just going to tell you, Andy, you and I are going to have a moment about 2 or 3 meetings from now. And the moment's going to go like this. I'm going to show you the whole plan. You're going to have what if the whole thing. And eventually I'm going to go, listen, I'm a PhD, MBA, CFP. You hired me to do this. I say you're fine. And then you're going to have a problem. Because the problem is you lost the excuse. You don't have to believe me, but like literally that's my job to look at it. It's just to look at it unemotionally. I have no emotion around your money. I'm like, whatever you want to do for your life, whatever your numbers are, let's make that happen. Like, and that's the difference.
Yeah, and I feel like I could probably look at someone else's situation and look at it with the unemotional and that sort of aspect. And that's why we're here to talk to you, like to look at it from a logical perspective. Because on the inside, it's a lot of emotions involved in making these decisions, which we should try to remove that, but it's very hard to do.
Welcome to the Childfree Wealth Podcast, hosted by Bree and Dr. J, Certified Financial Planner. Here we discuss life and finances as it relates to being child-free. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your advisor before implementing any ideas heard on this podcast.
All right. We had actually scheduled this like a couple months ago and our schedules didn't connect. And I think Andy was the one that reached out originally. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Yep. It was.
Okay, so Libby, what is it like when Andy goes, hey, so do you want to be on a podcast and talk about your finances?
Yeah, I was like, sure, that sounds cool. Because, I mean, we're both in the Facebook group that you're in. So I see your posts and stuff too. But Andy's definitely more the financial guy than I am.
I always wondered about kind of the person that's dragged to these meetings. You know, we call him the hostage for a reason. So
he always explains things in layman's terms to me because it's a lot for me to handle. But I feel like I know quite a bit.
Yeah. I feel like I'm lucky to have a partner in life that's pretty much on the same page as me. That's very helpful. So
that's fair. By the way, I'm not going to quiz you on anything. So like, you know, you're good. So here's the plan. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to like just get to know each other, kind of understand where you're at, where your life's at. Then I'm going to send our financial information form. It'll grab like everything about you. We'll take you through what we call the Childfree Wealth Checkup, which gives you kind of like, well, this is working, this needs improvement, that type of thing. And then we'll work on creating a financial plan over the next few months. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about you, your life, kind of what's going on, who you are.
You want to take it or on me?
You always have the good story of how we started.
Okay. Well, I'll go way back to the beginning. And I guess we got married in around 2010 and we moved out to Hawaii right away. And we had basically no money. We were looking for jobs, all those kind of things. And moving to Hawaii at that time with no money is not a great option. I don't recommend it. We struggled for a long time just to stay afloat anyway. I think around that time was when I started to stumble upon like sort of the Dave Ramsey type stuff and stay out of debt and those kind of things. And so I kind of got on that path and we got on that together. We just focused on staying out of debt for several years. Like that was our main thing. Saving money wasn't really an option. It was just keeping out of debt. And then over the years, our income has increased and our education has increased and those kind of things. And I guess full circle, we left Hawaii for a while and now we're back in Hawaii. We're making a lot more money than we were before, but we're also spending a lot more money than we were before.
Mostly in rent.
Mostly in housing costs, those kind of things, because housing is extremely expensive. Yeah. Other than that, we live a fairly simple life, I like to think anyway. Mm-hmm. We're saving very aggressively towards retirement and those type of things. And we kind of have this goal in life of, you know, early retirement in the next maybe 5 to 7 years. Maybe working a little bit on passion projects or like Libby works in travel remotely from home so she could continue to do that kind of part-time. But that's sort of our long-term goal. And I feel like I've been sort of managing the finances, but Libby's always there to support me throughout everything. And early on, it was easier to do where I didn't have a lot to worry about and there wasn't a lot of money involved. So if I screwed up, then, you know, so be it. We've only lost, you know, a few $100s or whatever. But now the numbers are getting bigger and it gets to be a little more scary of like, okay, am I doing this right? Or what's going to happen if I screw it up? There's a lot more on the line, I feel, at this point.
That's fair. You couldn't pick a more expensive place to live. So, I mean, you know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. We go back and forth daily of where do we move or what should we do, because rent's getting more expensive here and it's kind of ridiculous. That's our highest cost.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been one time I've ever told somebody to move to California for cost of living, and it was somebody that was in Hawaii.
Well, we did, and you were like, wow, it's so cheap here.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what happened, Jay. We were living in Hawaii. We moved to California, and that's probably where we gained our most traction.
Yeah, we got they pay better there. The rent was, or our mortgage was way less.
Yeah, and then we thought to ourselves, hey, let's go back to Hawaii. So here we are.
So if money didn't matter, would you stay in Hawaii?
Yeah, I think so. Probably, yeah.
I mean, it's the state we would live in for now, but the goal is trying to move out of the U.S., I think, eventually. But for now, living in the U.S., Hawaii is where we would stay.
Yeah.
Why don't you move outside the U.S. now?
I feel like we're not at that point financially where we could live off of our investments and live off of, Libby has a remote job. I don't.
Yeah.
And I probably bring in the most money between us. If I was to go, it would cut down big time.
We're kind of even in the money, but yours is more stable.
Yeah, mine's more stable, I guess.
Travel's not stable with, COVID and all ups and downs of trends and stuff. So if he could get remote, then yeah, we'd be gone in an instant.
Yeah.
Well, but let's test this out. You can get remote, not necessarily doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So which is more important, the job you're doing or the location you're in?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so this is what we struggled with too. When we were in California, we had this plan of, 10 more years, then we can early retire, but we were just miserable in California. So then we decided to give that up and move here, and now we're paying more in rent. And it's fine because we're somewhere that we like. But now we're 5 to 7 years out. So it's do we just keep doing what we're doing and then we can do whatever we want after that? Or do you get a job, a remote job paying, half the amount that he's already earning and we could be living wherever? Yeah, so it's, I don't know. Sometimes we get in that thing where we're it's just 5 or 7 more years.
And I'm probably more the more conservative one of I like the stability and I want to, push towards this certain number and that makes me feel safe. And Libby's probably more of
I'm let's go.
Let's go kind of thing.
What's your magic number, Andy?
It probably worth-wise, probably 1.7 to 2 million. That's where I would feel okay with us leaving where we are in Hawaii. We're building a little condo kind of place in the Dominican Republic. So our hope is to stay there for, 3, 4, 5 months a year and then travel the rest of the time. And hopefully that amount of money will let us live a decent life where we're not, constricted to what we want. We can do some of the things. We're not really a super budgeted type traveling. But yeah, that's kind of the goal for me.
Yeah, but still have some maybe extra fun money if the repositioning cruise comes on and we can, 30 days, let's go. And we don't have to think about it as much. We just kind of have that a little bit of money where we're not as stuck and
cushion.
Cushion.
Okay. So your magic number is 1.7 to 2. Where are you now?
Right around 1.
Okay. Is your 1.7 to 2 number based on cost of living today or based on cost of living in Dominican Republic and this traveling world?
It's based on cost of living in the Dominican Republic and traveling and that kind of stuff. Yeah. That 1.7 to 2, I don't think would support us here. It wouldn't support us in Hawaii.
Okay. But Libby, I'm hearing you're not really in a hurry to cut out your job.
No, not really. No, mine, I can do it from anywhere. And if the money's coming in, then that's great. And yeah, but last year and this year have been really good. And then for next year in bookings, it's kind of slow. And that's where I'm starting to be hesitant of I'm not going to make as much money next year as I made. And that would be hard if we were relying on a certain amount traveling or living abroad.
In your mind, Libby, what's a bad year in the travel world? What do you make?
That's the thing. I mean, when I first started, I didn't even know what I could make. And then post-COVID happened and everybody was traveling. And it was oh my goodness. Last year, I made around 100,000 which is like kind of the goal, I feel like, when owning your own business. Like, I don't know. I know so many people want to hit that number. And I don't know. It's just a silly mind goal, I guess, because it's like, why that number? Why do you need that amount? But next year, I don't know. Next year, I was saying if I would be sad if I didn't make like 40 to 60,000 a year.
So you're seeing a 50% decrease in your business. Is that real?
So far, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So worst year, 50K. I'm playing with numbers and just having a little fun kind of running this out. What do you figure your cost of living expenses would be for this international life of leisure or whatever we're doing?
I think we had probably around five grand a month. So 60K a year. That was kind of what we were looking for. And then up to like 60 to 80. I mean, I guess if you look at it from what does it take just for us to survive, it's probably less than that. But also we want to be able to have some extra money to do other things and not be on such a tight budget as we travel around.
Yeah, I think originally when we crunched the numbers, wasn't it 1.4?
Something like that.
Which would get us like 60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And now you've upped it.
Yeah.
That's exactly the trick, Libby. I was trying to poking at it. So what happens every time people hit goals? It's like, oh, just a little more. They hit 1 million. It's got to be 2. Hit 2. It's got to be 4. And so let's play this out. So we work together for the next 6 months, like we have planned. And if that means for 2025, you move to the Dominican Republic halftime and travel the world the other half, is that okay?
I mean, that would be a very exciting goal for us. Yeah. It's a very scary thought to even think of, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just use back of the napkin math here, okay? Bad year for Libby's 50 grand a year. You got 1 million, you can take 40 grand a year out of that. That's 90. You said you need 60 to 80. We've already done it.
Yeah. Jay?
This is what he needs. Somebody just
this is why we're here.
Poking it a little bit. Because I'm just...
No, it makes sense. It does. Yeah. It's just, I guess it's the irrational fear. I don't know what it is.
But then you're the one that always says, worst case, if it doesn't work out, we're still back in the situation we are now.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I feel like we're pretty young too, so there's a long timeline kind of thing, and yeah, I don't know.
But then we go back
we'll solve that.
Yeah. But then we go back to, well, it's only 5 or 7 more years, so is it really that?
But hold on, it's 5 or 7 more years to get to the goal you've already gotten to.
Yeah. Then he'll change it again.
Maybe.
My current analogy is, you're on the rock climbing wall, you've climbed the wall, you rang the bell, and now you're like, all right, well, we can just keep ringing the bell for another 5 years. Nothing's going to change. I'm just ringing the bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, you're the dog that caught the car.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what do we caught the car? Now what do we do with the car?
So let's play with this for a second. By the way, our top downloaded episode is I'll Make You Quit Your Job. So just saying, we're going right down that path. Andy, what if you did a part-time remote job? I don't know doing what, but just something.
Yeah.
Well, he started something.
Yeah,
he's hoping to build.
I've been doing like tax preparation and kind of finance education for travel agents specifically, all people in Libby's industry. So I started that up last year, and that brought in probably $8,000 or $9,000, I think. And that was just,
you only limited yourself.
And I capped it big time. Like I didn't bring on too many people.
You have a huge wait list.
Yeah, I could probably double or triple that if I wanted, but I also have a full-time job, so that making that transition, making that jump is a hard thing, because I'd have to cut back at my regular job if I wanted to do that more often.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I do, actually. Yeah, I enjoy that side of things.
I feel bad that you enjoy tax prep, but all right, Andy, so we're going to work through a plan, but the plan is you're going to quit your job by the end of the year and go semi-full-time tax prep for January 1st.
Okay.
Well, watch where I'm going with this, okay? Worst case with Libby, $50K a year. If your tax prep brings in $30K a year, which sounds like it's not a big deal. And by the way, tax prep, you can scale up as much as you want. Work 4 months out of the year and never work again. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
You two can hit your $80K, which is your expenses, and just leave your $1 million to grow.
Yep.
We should tell him our plan B as well.
What's the plan B?
The international jobs.
Oh, yeah. The other thing that we have been looking at, which is kind of maybe a little bit of a combination of what we're talking about now and our plan, which was I've been applying for several jobs overseas, like in Europe and Germany and Japan, in my industry that usually have contracts of around 3 to 5 years. And so that's the other thing, but it's such a slow process. And if that opportunity came up, we would probably jump on that to get to experience living in another country for that 3 to 5 years.
And they pay your housing. So the pay that we get, we would just get to bank, which is like something we're not doing right now.
Yeah. So the downside there is now that repositioning cruise comes by, you can't take it.
No.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, I think, yeah, if we were traveling, like the goal would be if he gets the job in Germany, then we're going to go see Europe while we can, because I'm the kind of meticulous travel person. And so I've already planned out like which countries allow you visas and all that. And I know Europe only lets you stay for 3 months. That's not long enough. But if we get to live there for 3 to 5 years and every other weekend or long weekend, we're going and exploring, we're going to get to see all of Europe, which would take us so much longer to see if we were on a 3-month visa coming back every year, trying to see another, so that in my mind is a way to see it, but also, get housing paid, but also still make money. And it would kind of be the win-win, I think, for, and then once the contract's over, then we're done. We would be totally done. They move you wherever you want to move back to, and we're good to go. But we don't know if this is going to happen. Our fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
Well, so now I'm going to test Andy. You said, hey, I want to cut out from doing work. And now you're saying I just want to change my job. Which one's the real goal?
I've always liked what I do, but part of the problem is like with Libby, she has her own business. She has a lot of like vacation and travel time, and she can go a lot of different places. I get kind of stuck because I have that limited vacation time and all of those kind of things.
If we were in Europe, you'd still get to travel a lot.
Yeah, you get to travel like long weekends and those kind of things and still have the vacation time. In Hawaii, taking a trip somewhere that's not inter-island is very difficult. I mean, it takes a day at least each way at a minimum to go somewhere. If we want to go to Europe, that's 2 days just to get there and 2 days to get back. So that's what crushes me.
Yeah.
If the opportunity came up for the international like job in my career field, I do like that, and I have a lot of experience in it, and I'm good at it, so I feel like it would be a good opportunity for me.
But here's the thing: I think we're waiting. He's been pushed forward to the next step, and the next step is hopefully they'll call him for an interview. If that doesn't happen, maybe around the next 3 months or something. So around the summer, June, July. If nothing has happened, then we need this new plan, because I feel like we're in this stuck stage of rent is getting high and we're just kind of over it.
So let me test some things. So what I'm hearing, by the way, my focus is always kind of make your finances simple so your life can be amazing. And what I'm hearing is your amazing life is kind of a little bit of a nomadic travel, international world kind of wander. Is that the right choice?
Yeah, but we still want like a home base kind of thing. Like, and that was our hope for the Dominican Republic, is it's a home base that we can have our own bed and like just a place to chill for a bit, and then we can branch out from there and come back.
And we're not paying rent when we're there, so that if we want to go to more expensive countries, we can, because we've been in the DR for 6 months rent free, and so we've kind of played around with those numbers.
Yep. So here's the thing: if that's the amazing life you're looking for, getting Andy either to do his own business or a remote job enables that life.
Yeah.
And what I'm also hearing is really the goal isn't retirement. It's cut back on work and have this fun life.
Yeah. And remote.
Okay. Then the 5 to 7 years makes no sense. I'm just testing this out because...
Are you a financial planner or a therapist?
Okay.
A little bit of both.
What we do is we we call life and financial planning together. I mean, there's a reason. My PhD is adult learning, specifically it does cognitive psychology. So, but here's the thing. A lot of people work on a financial plan and miss their life on the way by.
Yeah.
So you just told me retirement's not your goal, but we're waiting 5 to 7 years to hit a goal that we don't care about. Do you care about how much money you pass on to the next generation?
Nope.
No.
Nope. It's going to the pets and the dogs and the organizations and all that.
Yeah.
So we don't care about how much money we pass on the next generation. We don't care about retiring. Why are you following a fire path with a fire number and 5 to 7 years to get there?
I think more worried about what does our life look like when we're 80, 90? Like, obviously we don't want to lose all our money, and we still want wherever we end up when we're that old to have money to be in a home or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's play this out for a second. I'm doing some math here. So we're going to call you guys mid-30s. If on average the market doubles every 7 to 10 years, which it does, in 10 years from now, mid-40s, you got 2 million. Mid-50s, you got 4. 60s, you got 8 million. 70s, you got 16 million. And that's assuming you put no more money into your savings.
Uh-huh.
And this is what I was telling him the one night. I was asking him this and saying, right, it doubles in a year, so we just hit 1 million. So if we didn't put any more money in, we'd be at 2 million in 7 to 10 years. And I was like, why don't we just go right now and we can do whatever? But again, it comes down to the scary part of we need both of our jobs to sustain us and pay whatever, but we don't have to worry about putting. Right now, we're working to put the money in to keep growing.
And I think with your travel business, you don't want to work all year round if you can. You want to cut back as much as you possibly could if we went somewhere. Because the 50,000 to 80,000 that you do make, you're working the 4 days a week pretty much and fairly busy.
But if I'm doing this for the next 7 to 10 years until our account hits what you want it to hit while we just stay here and work, then that's fine. And then after that I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Because you're saying you only have to do this for the 5 to 7 years we'd be staying here.
So I'm playing out a couple things. Okay. First of all, you're feeding a beast of living in Hawaii and cost of living. Okay. It is rent, but it's also food is double the price and whatever, electricity and it just everything for a life you're not looking at. I'm hearing both of you would kind of probably be doing some work for most of your life. Might be more passion projects, fun projects, cut back, do something. You'll probably work half time, ideally. Is that fair?
Yeah, I probably will. I feel like I like doing stuff. I'll probably continue to do certain things. I think Libby would be happy just cutting off entirely.
Yeah, I feel like for me, once we hit...
she's a sucker for those type of things. So she would be involved in all of that.
Yeah.
I get it. My wife spends a lot of quality time at the shelter. So, But let's play this out. If we don't add anything to your investments, you'll hit your magic number at mid-40s. So let's call that 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You get the choice of, do you want to spend the next 10 years living your ideal life or grinding it out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've said.
By the way, in case you're missing it, Libby, Andy thought I was going to be on his side for all of this.
No, this is good because he needs somebody else to
poke the bear. We're here because I need someone else to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah,
for sure.
Besides for my just let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because Libby's let's do it comes from no type of logical or mathematical background.
Logical stuff.
Sometimes it comes from just excitement to go do things, which is that's what I love about her. But
well, we can do both. So I'm assuming you have no debt because you already talked about the Ramsey world.
Yeah.
Right? No debt? Cool.
No debt.
So you have no debt and $1 million net worth. All right? And by the way, we'll come back to actually, we'll look at all the investment in insurance. We'll get all the nitty gritty. That's the next time. But you got no debt. You're in your 30s, $1 million. You get to choose what the next 50, 60 years of your life look like.
Yeah.
I'm challenging you not to wait. So let's play this out. Your $2 million number is based on an $80,000 expenses. That's a fire number, 25 times 80. Cool. Well, that number, that 4% safe withdrawal rate, is based on your assumption that you want to pass on money to the next generation.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Correct.
So let's play this out. So we say, all right, next year, Libby's business does half of what it's doing now, $50K. Andy does enough for the other 30, which, by the way, I have a feeling if he actually starts doing that, it's actually going to bring in more because he's going to get sucked into it. But we'll come back to that. Like I've seen this play out. You know, the fun of doing my job is I can change your names like 4 people and I know the story. You're very normal within the child-free population. So next year for 2025, you two make enough to cover your expenses and we have a real picture of what a year of your expenses will be. Because part of what we don't know is we don't know if it's going to be 50, 60, 80. We don't.
Yeah.
So now next year, you two make it just enough to live off of. You save nothing else. Your money's still growing.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't take any out because we make enough on our expenses. Now, if you decide, Libby's like, hey, nope, we're not doing the repositioning cruise. I saw this cool one to Antarctica. It's a 6-month run and it's going to be really expensive. Cool. Then maybe we have to work a couple extra hours or, pick up a couple extra tax returns to do. But now we're working for the adventure. Does that get you excited?
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you an alternative. So Andy, the other option. So we go to do a 3-year contract in somewhere in Europe. Does that get you as excited?
I mean, I would like to do it. I think it would be exciting. I don't know. But I haven't, I've been very excited about that up until this meeting. And then now you're talking about maybe a whole different approach. And that's also very exciting. So both things are exciting.
The Europe stuff is exciting without the fear.
Yeah. I feel like the overseas job gives the travel aspect of it, but then it also gives me like that 3 extra years of probably irrational need for the stability of things.
And it's the choice of whether I kick you in the butt now or in 3 years.
Yeah.
Financially, I'm almost willing to bet it's going to make no difference.
Right.
And what happens is, so we always try to plan for your life first, then your finances, then your taxes. People go, well, when can I retire? And I'm like, do you want to retire? I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, then why are we worried about retiring? We're just kind of, it's the old Stephen Covey, start with the end first. Like our ladder's against the wrong wall and we're climbing it. And we're like, get to the top. We're like, nope, that's not one. I want that one over there. And you two have the opportunity to change whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, we'll cross the T's, dot the I's. We'll go through the whole plan. We'll make sure all, there's a process we call the unknown unknowns. Check them all off.
Mm.
But what if we said, okay, goal is for next year for you to be traveling the world. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
By the way, Libby, I'm watching your face. You're 100% into it. Andy, it's like I just kicked him. Like literally his face, like, I know this is what I said, but
heart attack.
I think I'm sweating.
If you're not watching this video, watch the video because you need to see his reaction.
Yeah.
It seems so fast.
we got 7 months. We're good.
Yeah. Let's cross the T's and dot the I's. That makes me feel better.
So here's the thing. We'll do the whole financial plan, and I've done this before. And usually what happens, we'll about 2-3 meetings in, we'll do the whole financial plan. I've projected, did all the numbers. And the Andy of the group, which you never know which one of the two it's going to be, is like, but what if? And by the way, you're going to do that to me, Andy. You're going to come back with 100 what ifs.
Yeah.
We will get through the what ifs. And then you're going to go, uh-oh, I've run out of excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Libby's laughing because you know what I'm talking about.
Because it's some of the same stuff that I've brought up.
Yeah.
Just in my thoughts of, what if we did this instead? And then realistic Andy comes in and it's like, okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay.
I also feel like maybe not like that financial burden is on me, but like the planning of it has been on me. Like this has kind of been my goal, and I don't want it to backfire. And then Libby to, and she wouldn't do this to me, but I would probably just project this on myself of being like, well, now we don't have money and now we're back to square one. And just kind of letting her down if I didn't take like the responsible route and make sure that it was done properly. Like pulling the trigger too fast. That's what scares me.
Yep. So we're still in a scarcity mindset. That's just, that is what that is. This is where I argue like 80% of your success with finances, your behaviors, your ways of thinking, not the numbers. I'm going to tell you right now, Andy, if you don't address it, hitting 2 million is not going to change that.
Yeah.
It just isn't. I've seen it. You'll be mid-40s, you'll have 2.5 million, and you'll be like, well, 5 would make me feel better. And that's when Libby's just going to like smack you and be like,
no, absolutely not. I'm done.
Libby, let's play this out. Let's say we do this plan. Your business doesn't do so well. Andy's business doesn't do so well. Like I've got like 7 what ifs down here in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And you two need to decide to move back to the States and get a real job. Is that okay?
Yeah, it'd be okay. We could figure it out. I think too, we also have the DR place. So even if we could bring in $40K a year, we could live there, and it's still better than living in the US, I think.
Yeah, where we wouldn't, in no scenario that I can think of, would we end up like broke and with no money. We can always fall back on the Dominican Republic place that would be a paid for condo and low cost of living, and we could spend our time there if something.
Except for hurricane season, but that's a separate discussion.
Yeah,
hurricane season. But yeah.
But then there's other places to go that are low cost living.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and that was my thought a couple months ago when I kind of was like going through the thing of like, well, if our money will grow, why are we working to grow it when we could be doing life now and, figure it out? And then again, he does have good realistic, things that, but sometimes I'm just like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I apologize, Andy, because Libby's going to be telling you all night. Like, Dr. J said you could do this. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Now,
plan.
But let's play this out, though. Andy, you're like, hey, I'm worried if this doesn't happen, I'm going to be blamed, essentially. And I'm like, I just went down the path of what happens if everything goes wrong. And you're like, we'd still be fine.
Yeah.
So it's the head trash that's holding you back.
Without taking money out of the retirement account.
Yeah.
Like without having to fall back on that.
No, it is. It's probably not really a number thing. It's for sure in my head. It always has been. And that's my own personal battle, I guess. But yeah.
Well, and that's how we got so stuck in California. We were so like, okay, it's only this much longer. And now I kind of feel like we're in that situation again here.
Yep.
Yeah, you're suffering through Hawaii, but we'll come back. Like,
we aren't. I mean, it's fine. It's just it's so expensive that all our money is going to rent, and it's like, this is stupid. So we've been trying to figure out where else do we live that we could put an extra $1,000 or $2,000 into retirement instead of into rent.
Yeah.
Yep. We just did one for a client, and they wanted to move down to just random islands in the South Pacific, just diving and do that life. And we're like, all right, for like $15,000 a year, you could live that life. Like, and there was no exaggeration. That's like decent life.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Now, by the way, you get a creature comforts, whatever. But it's always a question of what matters. So Andy, let me test you. Do you really want the goal?
Yeah. I've worked really hard for a long time, like long hours, still, I mean, I get up very early. I commute an hour every day, each way, and work 10-hour days. And I'm tired, and I could not imagine having to work full time for the rest of my life. I couldn't. Yeah.
And it's not like fulfilling to you.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm not super super passionate about it anymore. And
I'm gonna keep playing with your brain over there. How about this, Andy? By pure whatever circumstance, luck, we'll see how it goes. 3 months from now, your company does layoffs. You get laid off. Yep. Is it the best or worst thing that happened to you?
It'd
be the best.
It would probably be, yeah. We would have to pack up our stuff and probably go somewhere else. I don't know what we.
But we've said we always said, well, worst case, we'll go to the Dominican.
Yeah,
it'll be built. It should be built spring 2025. So we're just waiting on that, and then that's a fallback.
So if they laid me off in 3 months, we might have a problem.
Yeah.
Like we would be in like panic mode trying to figure out what we needed to do. If they lay me off in a year, then it would probably be the best thing that could have happened and just push us down this path. But that probably aligns with what you're saying. Yeah.
This is my argument is some people look at like a layoff and go, oh no, this is, I'd miss that job. But you didn't say any of that. It would give you the kick in the butt to do what you actually want to do.
Yeah. It probably,
Yeah. I'm not saying you should go ask for a layoff, but we're getting close.
Yeah.
When's your lease up?
We're kind of month to month right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they already raised rent. They're probably going to raise rent again. So yeah.
Can we push up the construction in the DR?
No. They're behind right now. So we're just waiting. It might be December 2024, but we're guessing it'll be a couple months after that.
Okay. So we're still talking within 9 to 12 months we can start living this new life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very possibly. Yeah.
Okay. You're saying very possibly, Andy, like,
Well, I just because of the DR condo situation. That's like, it's island time, building time. It was supposed to be ready in December. We already know that they're behind schedule, but we do see progress and it's getting there. I just don't know the exact day.
Okay. Is that condo in your net worth number?
No.
Okay. So we're ignoring some net worth.
Yeah. There's probably about, I would say, 80,000 of it it's included in the net worth only because the condo's like 190, I would say. And I still have 80,000 or 90,000 sitting in a savings account, like a high yield savings account to finish paying off. So when they go to hand us the keys, we pay the last 50% of the condo. The money that's already been put into it for building isn't included into the DR or to the net worth stuff.
Okay, so we've actually got a net worth of like 1.1.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep adding, by the way. It's going to keep creeping towards your number.
Yeah, and it also doesn't include the money in Libby's business account because we've never really lived off of that.
Just what's sitting in there?
What's sitting in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't include that.
It includes all my pet stuff I put into the retirement.
Yep. Yeah. Includes your retirement.
And we'll have a separate discussion on solo 401ks and all that. Like there's some fun things we can do to avoid taxes. But so we're getting closer to $1.2 million net worth now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I haven't even done the real math yet. Like I'm going off of your numbers. Oh, I have folks like, oh, yeah, I got $1 million. Cool. And then my house is worth $750,000. Like, so you got $1.7 million. Like, well, but that doesn't count because that is. I'm like, no, it counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Libby, you're smiling like crazy over here. Like, tell me what you're thinking.
I'm just like, this is what he's needed. It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm in.
So you're not worried at all, Libby?
No, not really. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm the type of person that when I make a plan, I just do it, and it's thankfully always happened. And I don't know. I mean, we've survived. We survived the first time living in Hawaii, making absolutely no money, and somehow it worked. Somehow it just works out. We make it work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had asked me on the list of like, hey, should I move to Hawaii with minimum wage jobs or like, I'm like, without a job, like, no.
Yeah. I don't even know how we made it work back then. Like what we made and the rent barely even added up.
No.
No. But
that's a no.
We ended up in situations where I had to tell her, like, you can't buy groceries until, Saturday because we don't have any money.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and I never want to go back to that situation. I worked so hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
Yep. We call that the rent and ramen mindset. Where we're just making enough money for rent and ramen. And Andy, you're living like you're rent and ramen right now.
Yeah. I always have. I think if anybody you talk to that knows me, they will say that I'm a very frugal person.
Like his coworkers notice that he never goes out for lunch. He's always packing his lunch.
Like I take the bus to work every day. eat my lunch every day. I pack my lunch every day, breakfast every day, all that kind of stuff. That's just been my life. I've just never changed it, even though a lot of other things have changed.
Yeah.
Yep. You're suffering from what we call the blueberry problem. That is when you buy the frozen blueberries because they're $1 cheaper than the fresh blueberries.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, buy the damn blueberries.
Yeah.
You guys going, like he's done that.
Yeah. I've gotten better at that, probably.
Yeah.
That's like a conversation with somebody with like triple what you had, and they're still buying the dented meat. And I'm like, you're fine. Like, buy but it's the stuff we trained our brains to do. The problem is, Andy, more money does not change that mindset. You've gone from a negative net worth to a millionaire, and you're still living rent and ramen.
Your brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you, Andy, you and I are going to have a moment about 2 or 3 meetings from now.
Okay.
And the moment's going to go like this. I'm going to show you the whole plan. You're going to have what if the whole thing. And eventually I'm going to go, listen, I'm a PhD, MBA, CFP. You hired me to do this. I say you're fine. And then you're going to have a problem. Because the problem is you lost the excuse. You don't have to believe me, but like literally that's my job to look at it. It's just to look at it unemotionally. I have no emotion around your money. I'm like, whatever you want to do for your life, whatever your numbers are, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. And I feel like I could probably look at someone else's situation and look at it with the unemotional and that sort of aspect. And that's why we're here to talk to you, like to look at it from a logical perspective. Because on the inside, it's a lot of emotions involved in making these decisions, which we should try to remove that, but it's very hard to do.
I can actually tell if I asked you, I'm not asking you. If I asked you for what are the top 5 reasons why you couldn't do this plan, you could spout them off the top of your head right immediately. Like, what if this and this and this? Like, it's already there. We're gonna have to chip into those one at a time. You'll come back to me and say, well, but our retirement will be slower. I'm like, well, do you want to retire? Like, we're going to get stuck in these circles.
Yeah.
And what you're going to find is right now you two are on a plan. I'm ballparking, but you're on a plan to give away $30 million when you die. Well, you said your goal was not to give money away when you die.
Yeah, I don't want to give that much away.
Yeah.
In my mind, that means you have like a $30 million problem. It's how do I spend the money and enjoy my life in between now and then?
Yeah. That's a lot of travel, 30 mil.
Well, what happens, by the way, is you can spend more now and then you won't gain the amount. And it's perfect. Like there's a balance. It's a yin yang type routine.
Yeah.
The hard part for this is we're unprogramming 30 years of experience for probably both of you. Libby's more the free spirit. Andy's more the scrimper and saver. We need somewhere between the two.
Yeah.
Andy, I'm trying to read your body language and you're like literally taking deep breaths. You're having to like work this through. How are you feeling?
I'm glad that we're here because it's put me in a very I won't say uncomfortable, but it's just opened my eyes. And when you say the numbers out loud and you talk about kind of our situation, it makes sense. Like if you just look at the numbers, it makes sense. Like there's no reason between me doing some taxes and her travel business on a bad year couldn't make do if we move somewhere else.
But he needs to get all your things that you have in your brain that are telling you it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I went to the worst case because, Libby, your business going down 50% year over year, I'm kind of like, that's really a huge dive. Maybe it goes down, I don't know if that's, it might be 60,000, but like we're kind of going to the worst case and still okay.
Right. It's still not terrible. Like had you told me I was going to make that before I started my business, I would have said, great. I think I jump started my business because of COVID. And I know that I've talked myself through it before. Travel after COVID was awesome. Everybody was traveling and now it's slowing down. Now there's a bunch of crap happening all over the world and people aren't wanting to travel to certain places. And so it's just slowing down a little bit. Then it doesn't mean it's going to grow back up after stuff. And that's just how travel is. It's going to have its ups and downs.
Yep. I think also my guess is You two move to the DR. You're in this new life. Andy's still going to try to find a way to scrimp and save every penny.
Yeah.
In some aspects, yeah.
So you'll probably end up spending closer to the 50 than the 80.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he always wants a little cushion.
Yeah, it just makes me feel good to have a little bit of a cushion, I guess.
All right, here's what we're going to do, Andy. Besides the homework of like filling all the forms, I want you to actually create a budget for 2025. What you're going to spend month by month.
If we lived elsewhere.
Oh, but no, you're not living in Hawaii next year. Like, we're moving. We're like, I'm already on that plan. Like,
Okay.
run out. Okay, we're going to put aside 20 grand for travel. Here's what our 5 months in DR are going to cost. Here's like, go ahead and do the numbers.
We pretty much have this done.
We did this in 2020, and that's how we came up with $60K. And that even included flights and a little bit of cushion. And then he somehow was like, no, we should do more 80, 90.
Yeah.
You know.
And that whole thing was based like, we went through this kind of exercise, and it'll be a very good thing for us to revisit it.
Yeah.
And actually look at today's dollars and go through and see.
And we did it based on living in the DR for 6 months, knowing that these were our expenses. And then what if we lived in Portugal for 3 months because we know that's much less? What if we did New Zealand? Oh, New Zealand's a little bit more expensive. And then that's how we got an average so that we weren't like, if we wanted to do New Zealand, we still could.
Yeah.
And we got our number.
And that's where this like probably at that point it was like 1.5, but like 1.5 to $2 million number. That's why we came up with that number. It was able to support us based on the budget we came up with, but that didn't take into account, like at that time,
That's working.
you hadn't even started your business yet.
Yeah.
So that didn't take into account anything. That just included us stopping working entirely and just living off of investments. Like that's, and now things have changed a little bit over the last 3 or 4 years to where, yeah, we should revisit it.
And if we don't revisit it 5 years from now, we're going to still be using those numbers from 2020 and like just keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, the other thing is I get to now look at your numbers, go, yeah, that's real or not. Like, because I have a feeling Andy might be sandbagging a little and say it's more expensive than normal. I'm just guessing, like, am I right, Andy?
I feel like I've put some pretty realistic numbers in there. The things that I don't know is like, I know when we're in the Dominican Republic, kind of what our costs will be, our fixed costs. And then once we leave there, I don't know what the rent situation will look like in other countries as well, or like where we're going to be going or how we're going to be traveling. So those are kind of variables that I don't know anything about. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah. And that 60,000 included 1,000 a month towards travel. I remember we put that in there.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So, by the way, 60 is probably the real number, not 80 then. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to...
Yeah.
What I'm guessing, Andy, is you got a number and then you're adding more for comfort, but we might be adding twice is kind of what I'm trying to see.
Right. Yeah.
Now, while we're talking about the travel, one thing to check back, I made a note. Have either of you looked to see if you can do EU citizenship by heritage?
I've kind of looked into it. I don't think I can. My great-great-grandma was British, and I think my grandma...
That's not going to get you far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think me either.
No. We didn't have enough lineage.
Okay. Then we may want to go down the Portugal digital nomad path.
Yeah,
that's
what I really want to consider. I want to get there and figure out if we like it, and then that could be a really good other 6-month option.
Yep. What I'm trying to do is try to build into your plan some of the citizenship things we just have to do. Like, it's just check boxes. Interestingly enough, I found quite a few people lately like, oh, hey, like for me, my family, my great-grandfather came from Lithuania. I can get EU citizenship by heritage. My wife's mother came from Poland. She can get, like, we can just fill out the legal forms. Like, that's awesome. It's like 10 grand in lawyer fees.
That's awesome.
I was just hoping I could find that for you, but
I know. I've already gone that route.
It becomes a game for what is the cheapest way to get citizenship. It's possible. It's very easy. It's just we got to play a game. All right. So 2025, new year, new life for you two. I'm going to put in your homework for you two to like actually have that conversation of like, can we really get our head around doing this in 9 months. Like, Libby's already there, but like,
The only other thing, which it's not that hard. We can make it, figure it out. But our 5 to 7 year plan also fit our cat in very well because he's like 10. So we figured he has 5 to 7 years left to live. And so living in the DR or traveling with a cat was not that fun. When we had a dog, she was, you could put her in the plane and she can go anywhere. But a cat's like, oh God, how are we going to do that? But we would figure it out.
So we're going to live in Hawaii for 7 years for the cat.
Because of the cat, yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but yeah.
And by the way, my luck, that cat will live till 21. And
he is going to live to 21. So yeah, we got to figure it out.
What's going to end up happening is, first, what I was trying to do is just get the goal set. So now I think, and we'll check on it, but I have a feeling you're going to end up there. Then the question is, okay, how do we solve to get to that goal? And I'm not seeing huge things besides just the what if world. Cool. What's going to end up happening is about 3-4 months from now, it's going to sink in like, oh, we can actually do this. The one thing I want you to watch out for is then do you change your goal? So a lot of times when people are like, oh, I could actually get my goal, they're like, well, maybe that's not what I actually wanted. Like, and it sounds weird, but it's kind of like, we've been working towards this. And then you catch the car. You're like, yeah, turns out I want, and I don't know what, but just be aware. Okay. It might shift.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to watch out for is Andy going, no, my goal is to live like a hermit and, like not spend any money and, like, no.
No, that's definitely not what it is.
You're going to find out that we're going to end up spending more time talking about spending money than saving money through this, because that's going to be the hard one to change.
Yeah.
I agree.
Andy, how are you feeling? I've been kind of taking some shots at you, and I apologize.
No, I'm very happy to hear this. It's exciting because, like I said, we worked very, very hard to get to where we are right now from nothing in a relatively short period of time. And just through aggressive saving and living on less than we make and living within our means and all of those type of things. And the award, like the reward at the end, is kind of where we're at. And it's such an unusual thing, right? To be like in your mid to late 30s or whatever, looking at this as an option. It just feels weird. So there's not a lot of people to go around and say, talk to somebody who's 41 that did this exact same thing and tell me that it's the best decision that they ever made. It's hard to find those type of people.
I'll point you in the right direction. I'm going to give you a couple podcast episodes because this is something we rarely talk about. There's actually a money guilt issue that comes in here. Well, can I really do it? There's also this concept of file versus fire of like, can I really just cut back on work? It's money mindset stuff that will take a bit of work to get there. And Libby, how you feeling?
I'm good. I think, I'm excited that what you're saying is some of the stuff that I have brought up to Andy, but my knowledge is not as in-depth as yours. Mine's just going off what he's told me of like, the money grows and and just playing around with it in my head of like, why couldn't we do this? And, but for me, when it comes off when I say it, I think it's just like, why not? And then he has his reasons. And I think if you can chip away at those reasons, that's great.
Libby, just a warning, Andy and I are going to get very nerdy on numbers for a couple times because I'm sure he's going to like check my math and, what's this assumption? How's this working? And that's okay. We'll go toe to toe on that. But we're going to have to keep him focused on, you said you want this goal. Do you really want it? And that's the hard part.
No, and I think we do because we've been working towards it for a long time and getting stuck because we're so focused on it in the wrong way.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a rating or review. We'd love to keep the conversation going. Please let us know your thoughts wherever comments are available or email us at media@childfreewealth.com. To stay up to date, find and follow Childfree Wealth on social media. If you're interested in working with us, learn more by visiting our website, childfreewealth.com. We'll see you next time.